ready to chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets.
And like he was just like, look, it's on the sandwich now. You gotta swallow it. And so I swallowed it. You gotta do what you gotta
do. You had to.
It was there. Yeah, it would have been inappropriate of you not to at that point.
The unfortunate thing is we were talking about a compliment sandwich.
Oh, that is weird. Speaking of an odd situation, I got a theory I want to test you guys. Deion Sanders is the head coach of Colorado, right? His son's coming back for one more year, try to raise his draft stock, get to the NFL. Do you think the Nick Saban news is bad to him because he was hoping that he would retire next year? Now, ride with me on this. He's locked in at Colorado because his son's there, right? And his other son's there. But I don't think he ever had any long-term plan of being in Colorado. This year, with Nick Saban being retired, there's going to be a ton of coach movement in the next week or two. I can think of two coaches that will not move. One of them is Mario Cristobal because he's a Miami guy. He left from Oregon. I don't think it's worthwhile for him to go to Alabama or anywhere else. I think in his mind, he's going to
take him.
you can have him. Get him off the books. Either way, right? I would be surprised if Steve Sarkisian leaves Texas. Those two seem like they're pretty good.
I say take him the same way I did with our quarterback, and then we ended up with some dude from the NAIA. So
yeah,
Rodeberger or something.
He has the funniest name. It's like Poffenberg. He sounds like a guy that literally always got a wedgie. Every day he would get his daily wedgie. It was like he went to chemistry, got a wedgie, then went to art. That was between first and second period. Quentin Poffenberger or something like that. Can someone look up his name because it's delightful. But I think Deion would have gotten a raise and a new job next year because of all the fallout. And there's always going to be coaches.
You got it, Poffenbarger.
Poffenbarger?
Reese Poffenbarger.
Reese Poffenbarger. Great name. But do you guys think that Deion Sanders and him and Nick Saban are super close? I'm sure he's happy. I read the quote about him being the GOAT, but I think it would be advantageous for this to have happened next year where Deion could get a new job quickly. You guys have any thoughts on that? Am I wrong?
I think Deion's staying in Colorado. I think the coaching carousel happens every year, and there will be good jobs available. So
I think Deion Sanders is a smart guy, and if he is a smart guy, like I think he is, he's just waiting for Norvell to take the Alabama job so that he can go recruit at Florida State.
Would you really want him at Florida State? Seriously?
Yes.
I think that he could do a hell of a job recruiting, but I think now the bridge might be burned.
I think Deion's X's and O's are underrated. I think that dude knows football as good as anybody in the world. I think to be that good at football, you had to know football, especially on defense. I know he just played corner, and everybody says, "Oh, it's his work ethic and his athletic ability." But you listen to him talk about football, dude knows everything.
Actually, I agree with what you're saying there, and I think that he's actually he's very intelligent and he's good at knowing football. He's good at business.
Oh, he's excellent at creating his own brand for sure. He's incredibly savvy.
Right, that's what I'm saying. All right.
But tell me another example of a great athlete that was a great coach. Danny, you may be right. He may break the mold, but I can't think of a great athlete that was ever a great coach.
Really?
Name me one.
Steve Kerr.
No.
I'm saying Deion
great
Sanders.
athlete. Yeah, you're talking about a superstar.
They're all pros. Most of these guys have played professionally, right? So I'm not saying that they're not the top one. They're top 1% at what they do. I'm saying Michael Jordan was a terrible coach. Isaiah Thomas.
Jim Harbaugh.
Was he good at football?
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He played in the AFC Championship game, and he should have got to a Super Bowl if he didn't. If it wasn't for a Hail Mary.
He
was pretty damn good. And then he punched Jim Kelly in the face, which got him suspended for a season, and then allowed them to draft Peyton Manning, and then his career was over.
I mean, okay, all right. Well, I mean, John Elway obviously wasn't a coach, but he was a superstar, and he went on to be a great owner / somewhat
Exec. He was a
manager.
decent exec, but I think they fired him as GM now.
Yeah, the money guys are different, right? I understand if you have the money, even though Michael Jordan stinks at that one too. Those Hornets are awful. Bobcats, whatever they are now in Charlotte. I think they're the Hornets.
They're back to the Hornets.
I think it's been like 20 years since they were
I don't know.
Bobcats.
Aaron Boone's a pretty good coach. What's
He's
the
not-
other? The Yankee catcher was damn good catcher and also a good coach, but not as historically great as you're talking about.
Catchers are always good. Catchers are always good because they have to deal with so much bullshit and like read the game the whole time, and they're never superior athletes. So they rely on their like. Yes, I get it. They are great athletes, Danny. Before you start saying like, well, catchers have to squat and do all this stuff. Yes, I get it.
Catchers have to sprain their ankles.
No, you're fucking saying that because this guy just broke his fucking ankle being a catcher. You don't have to be nice to this asshole.
Yeah, that's true. He stinks. He's a terrible athlete.
Fucking broke
Girardi
his
was
ankle.
pretty good.
Guy.
Girardi was a good player.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you never see those elite. Deion Sanders is a totally different world than Joe.
Yeah,
Burrow.
no, absolutely, totally different world. Like Barry Bonds as a hitting coach never worked out because he was just
Exactly.
like, hey guys, can't you just see the spin on the ball and then hit it?
Why don't you swing and hit the ball 500 feet? What's wrong with you? It's like, that's not helpful, Barry. That's not how coaching works. Like telling me things I can't do is not helpful. Like,
I mean, Sam Madison seems like he's a pretty good DB coach. He was an elite defensive back.
Asante Samuel at Florida State looks pretty good and doesn't look too bad.
Coach?
We don't know about head coach yet, but yeah. Oh, I got a good one.
Jason Taylor?
What was the wide Jason Taylor's a decent
I heard he's really good at
coach.
Miami.
What was the wide receiver for Tennessee? Derek Mason.
Derek Mason is a good player, and
he's had good coaching opportunities. Oh, Josh Heupel. Great college quarterback.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you Josh Heupel. He was a great college quarterback. That's it. He was an excellent college quarterback.
And a really good head coach in college. Now.
Okay, but if you say great college athletes, every NBA player was probably a great college athlete.
Yeah. Honestly, when you talk about the all-time greats, it's hard to come up with one. I don't know if it's because they don't need the money anymore or because they can't relate to the players because of their greatness. But I agree with what you're getting at there. Deion Sanders is the answer that most people would come up with if you ask this.
Yeah, and I hope he is right because we talked about his brand knowledge and his business savvy is awesome. Dude knows how to make a buck. He knows how to make a brand. He knows how to do all that. And if it's at Florida State and he proves himself well, kudos, buddy, because I do think he'll probably be pretty high on that list if Norvell goes to Oregon.
But even just going down the did he have a Hall of Fame playing career and a Hall of Fame coaching career? That's really rare.
Do
you think that he would actually consider Florida State? Do you think he would consider it?
I think it would be so much money for him as far as the brand story, and there would be a lot to sell there. And you get Florida athletes, right? Like he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think he would consider the University of Florida next year.
I think there's based on just
what? Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't hear that.
I've already made this joke. He will be the University of Florida football coach in 2025.
Okay. All right.
I don't disagree with you. I honestly think that there's been a huge break between him and the board of trustees, and it would take a complete overhaul of all of the management of the college to get Deion to go to Florida State.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I do think he wanted the head coaching job. They were like, you don't have any experience after Willie Taggart. He got very offended.
I think he wanted Willie Taggart to stay the coach more than he wanted the coaching job back then.
No. That's not. I don't think that's true at all. I'm actually pretty confident that he didn't want that. He wanted that job and he wanted the.
Well, he was all in on Willie Taggart getting that job and was a huge supporter of him while he was there, and then was back into the Florida State mix. And I think he was super offended that they fired him, even before he didn't get it. Like if they were going to fire him for Deion, he would have been okay with it. If they fired him for anyone else, it was done.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's get into NFL. We've talked a lot of college today. If you listen to the other one, we told you 5 5 reasons Nick Saban's sex life is going to improve. So make sure you listen to that one first, because we gave you number 3 is a doozy. Can't believe it. Shocking. Parentheses shocking in the clickbait title. But I'm Matt. There's Sunshine. There's Danny over there. We're going to drink some beer, pick some NFL games. What do you say, boys?
Cheers.
It's like a damn chocolate milk. That Samuel Smith organic chocolate stout.
Samuel Smith Nut Brown's one of my favorite beers that's ever been made.
It's an amazing beer. Top 5 beer. I've already said this to Sunshine when we were warming up. Great beer.
Yep,
we talked about the stats in the previous podcast. Yay, Al's really big winner. And if you haven't listened to the other one, Chris and I still have a Chuggy bet to give to Danny or someone else on this podcast. So that will be coming soon. But NFL teams were eliminated. And in tradition, we are going to give away a compliment sandwich for all these NFL teams. I can't start with the top one because I'm so shocked they didn't win the AFC South.
I'll start with them.
Okay. Danny, give a compliment sandwich to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, Jaguars. You have a number 1 overall pick quarterback who, while he was hurt, you're standing by, which I appreciate, because if the Browns had done that, they'd have Baker Mayfield this year instead of Joe Flacco. So stand by him. I love the way you're doing that. He didn't play great this season, but I still think he's going to come good. So I love that you're standing by him. As far as an insult, Jacksonville, you're Jacksonville. Your river doesn't smell that great, but what river does smell great? And then to close this compliment sandwich, I honestly love the beer in Jacksonville. Dukes, high five.
Yeah. Well, to
Old
the
City
Jacksonville
Brewery, baby, it's great. Cheers
to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Are you guys, of all the coach firings that happened, I'm shocked Doug Peterson wasn't fired. You cannot be that big of a favorite, have such a big lead going into the playoffs. You needed to win one friggin' game of like 5. And to choke that away is a bad look, boy.
McDaniel did it last year.
Yeah, but I don't know. You got to be better than that. You can't do that, especially in an AFC South where you're the clear you're the hands-on favorite by a wide margin going into it. Yes, Houston played better. Indianapolis played better. Get it, but you have
Josh Allen's not in their division. I get it.
Exactly. You don't have the Jets. Well, the Jets are funny, but the Patriots in there, like historic good teams in there. Sunshine, you want to do the Indianapolis Colts?
You know I do.
Okay.
And let's roll with that. Indianapolis. When I'm thinking of great places to live these days, I'm thinking of, Minneapolis, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis. And, it's just the real estate market's just very hot out there right now. And so, hey, way to fucking go, right? You had the 4th round pick and you picked Anthony Richardson, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but he got injured. And somehow you turned the meat of your compliment sandwich into vegetarian because it's a compliment. You put in Gardner Minshew, which, god damn it, thank you.
Thank you, Colts.
Yeah, we've
all enjoyed Gardner Minshew this season.
I fucking love that guy. Like, he doesn't take life too seriously. We could all use a little more Gardner Minshew in our life. I mean, hey, you put up some decent numbers. You just didn't get the W's that you needed. All right.
To the Colts.
That was an open face sandwich.
That was an open face sandwich. I'll do the Seattle Seahawks really quick. Seattle, you have a lot of companies that start there. That's kind of cool. You throw fish at each other. Also kind of cool. What do you expect realistically in the NFC West when you have the Rams who are rebounding and San Francisco 49ers that are awesome and your top option is Geno Smith? We love Geno Smith in this program, but let's be realistic here. He can only get you so far.
Get you as far as Brock Purdy.
I don't think the system isn't better. And congratulations, you're going to have a new coach because you got rid of Pete Carroll, or you amicably agreed to discontinue work, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. So to Seattle, and hey,
Hold on. Before we do this, cheers. You really think that Kyle Shanahan has some magic touch on Brock Purdy that Pete Carroll doesn't have? How many quarterbacks did he get drafted in the first round when he was at USC? And then he made Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer. And then he made Geno Smith a serviceable NFL quarterback.
I think he's an amazing coach. I think realistically, your expectations can only be so high when Geno Smith is your quarterback.
Agreed, but like he still turned him into a guy who was worth $100 million contract.
I've seen Geno Smith play other places without Pete Carroll, and he was dog shit.
But he wasn't dog shit at West Virginia.
Okay.
You just remember him as a Jet.
Ponder wasn't dog shit at Florida State. He's a terrible pro. Like that conversation.
Yeah, but Geno Smith isn't a terrible pro.
I don't think he's a terrible pro.
He just played for the Jets.
I think he's adequate. He's an adequate quarterback.
No offense, Joey, but I think if you're a quarterback for the Jets, you have no chance.
Oh, can't wait to see who they draft this year. It's gonna be so bad.
I can do the Saints. I can do the Saints very quickly.
Oh, why don't you take the last two? We'll move it.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Seattle, by the way. Seattle.
Oh yeah. Cheers.
It's a lot of silence.
To the New Orleans Saints. You are legitimately one of the top 3 party spots I've ever been in my life. Even when it's not Mardi Gras, what a great place to visit. You're the fucking Saints. Fuck you. And you got rid of
that sandwich.
You got rid of my head coach. So, gracias. All right.
I can't believe we did a whole Saints sandwich with no eyeliner mention.
No.
Oh, Danny, I failed you. I'm sorry. On to the Falcons. Hey, like you guys have been mediocre. Oh, wait, I got to start with a compliment. I'm sorry.
You got to start positive. The real estate there is great.
Best fucking city in the world. But like, all right. It's definitely like it's definitely 9 out of like top 10, right?
Great city, great.
But yeah, it's a great city, great little town, great little neighborhoods. Atlanta, I love you forever. I love Atlanta. What the fuck are we doing in football? And most all of our sports, honestly, you break my heart year after fucking year with all your bullshit.
Great city, though.
Oh yeah. Great city though.
Stadium.
Stadium's a lot of fun, Dan. We had a lot of fun there. Hey, the mayor, Andre Dickens, he's on to a few things. Like that guy. I got a selfie with him. We'll post it on the website.
Go to
ChuggieBets.com.
Don't buy that shit because
we're gonna have to buy that website.
I should buy that now. I'll purchase it as we're speaking.
So, to the Saints and to the Falcons, guys, we're the worst conference in the football, like the NFL.
To the Falcons.
To the worst conference in the football.
To the worst conference in the football. Let's talk about some fire coaches really quick, and we'll make it really quick. Chris, do you want to talk about Arthur Smith, or should we just like roll?
I like one of the things that we always talked about with Arthur Smith was the fact that like it's like Arthur Smith, he comes from wealth. Like his dad invented FedEx. Right? Yeah, but like Arthur didn't follow in his dad's footsteps.
Can I interject here? Am I the only one who keeps getting Arthur Smith confused with Arthur Blank?
Double Arthurs are weird. Where are these Arthurs coming from? Who's having Arthurs?
Who's making Arthurs these days?
It is a problem in Atlanta having 2 Arthurs.
And no Holy Grail.
Hey, I like that one.
That was bad.
That's a good one.
No, so and like we all I had just a guy I was talking to at a bar break down to me how Arthur Smith was successful in Tennessee like this season, like mid-season, and it broke my fucking heart. Because I was just like, oh my God. And I mean this in the lightest way possible. We hired a fraud. He's obviously not a fraud. He's not a fraud. But like they were just talking about, like he had Derrick Henry.
Not like that Notre Dame coach who lied about his resume.
No, not like that.
Matt knows his name off the top of his head, I'm sure of it.
George O'Leary.
There it is.
You guys do realize Bobby Petrino is probably available, right? Do you guys want to do that? Go on the Bobby Petrino rehab tour? Because that's a great place to be.
Actually, like for our coach, Atlanta's coach, our next coach, it's Nick Saban. And he's got Bill Belichick on his staff.
He's very loyal to NFL, so that'll work out really well.
No, I didn't. I don't know what's gonna happen with our coaching, but I will say that I do think that Arthur Blank is
Home Depot.
Well, no, he's half a Home Depot. But I think
sorry, I was just Stugatzing right there.
He's home. He's not.
Yeah, I think Arthur Blank has got the right. He's going to find the right guy.
Yeah, he's a good owner.
Yeah.
Are you still? Do we still need to give Desmond Ridder more time? I just want to make that joke to you.
Absolutely not. Get rid of him. Bring back Matt Ryan, or make Matt Ryan a coach. Do something with Matt Ryan. Hell, let's hire Michael Vick. I don't give a shit. But get rid of Desmond Ridder.
I would
Henneke,
love the offensive coordinator head coach combo of Mike Vick and Matt Ryan. That's a dream scenario.
Man, they take different approaches to the game, huh? I can't wait.
Mike Vick would be like, "Hey, when they're chasing you, just run faster than them." And Matt Ryan would be like, "Hey, when they're chasing you, just throw an interception.
Just fall on the ground.
You got to fall before they get you." He's one of the best quarterbacks literally of all time. Like if you look at his numbers, he's top awesome. 30 all time. And I hate making these jokes because Matty Ice was awesome in the NFL.
Awesome. Great player. Yeah, buddy, best of luck. You guys have some draft picks. We'll figure it out. There's going to be a lot of quarterbacks available if that's the direction you go. I do think you guys should have knocked for Lamar Jackson, like I said, before the fucking season.
Oh my God. Did y'all see that tweet or whatever? There was some guy put a tweet. It was sent to me that 5 teams were mentioned in the hunt for, or 5 teams said they would not talk trades for Lamar Jackson, and 4 of those 5 no longer have coaches.
We're Atlanta. All 4 of them were Atlanta.
4 of those 5 were Atlanta. That's funny.
Did y'all see that?
No, yeah,
because anybody who didn't want Lamar Jackson is dumb because he's amazing and everybody knows that.
Y'all, wait, like I've just figured we were all in the same text.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't see that at all.
So out of the 5 teams that were like, we're not gonna talk trades for Lamar Jackson, 4 of the head coaches were like 3 of them were already gone by the time Art Smith got fired.
So if I'm Atlanta, I'm trying to draft Jaden Daniels because you don't have that high of a pick, and he's not supposed to go in the top 2. But that's who I would take if I'm drafting in the middle of the first round.
Now, if you go back to podcast number episode 134, you'll hear me say Jaden Daniels is going to make a hell of a Falcon.
I remember that. I was here.
I loved episode 134. That was a great episode.
It was a fun, good episode, dude.
Do you think Mike Vrabel's okay with the idea that he gets to keep his penis probably for eternity now? Like, is there a goal in that?
Yeah, I mean, he's not winning a Super Bowl, so he doesn't have to cut it off like he promised. Right. I feel like that promise goes away with his new head coaching job for the Patriots.
I think he's a good coach. I was surprised by that. Look, I know Tennessee.
There was some sort of insubordination about bonuses or something that made
him. Is that what happened? Legit?
It was some sort of insubordination is why they got rid of Vrabel. Like nobody expected that, and there was some extra piece of news that I can't recall exactly. I know about the bonuses that happened there, which
we'll get to in a second. We'll celebrate some bonuses. It's bonus season.
He definitely called some plays that I don't think the owners wanted them to at the end.
Yeah. No, I love that. I was surprised. He never has a good team. Like we could talk about Tennessee, and I know they were number 1 or number 2 seed a couple years ago, but like they're never a team where you're like, whoa, Tennessee's coming. But he makes chicken salad out of like chicken, not shit, but chicken average. Like
he was
all the
AFC
time.
Championship like 4 years ago, but every single year they've gotten worse since then. And you know how owners are. Like you can't go from winning like 12 games to 11 to 10 to 7, right?
I think the criticism there should be on their GM, man. They keep taking shots at Treylon Burks and a bunch of other players that don't pan out. Will Levis may be good. That may be a hit.
It's kind of funny that they didn't think AJ Brown was good enough to play
Stupid.
in
They make
Nashville.
stupid decisions. Like, yeah, I don't think
Like,
that's
just
on my
pay the man. He was so good. Everybody saw it when he was there. Now he's in Philadelphia, and it's obvious. So,
Is it just what? I'm sorry, Matt.
ahead,
I don't mean to cut you off. Is it just me, or does Mike Vrabel look better with a mustache?
he's one of the few guys that can absolutely pull off a mustache.
But like, as I'm going through his images, none of them had mustaches on them.
No, he looks good with a mustache. There's definitely a Vrabel mustache.
Vrabel's looks like the dad that gets hit on in the school line when he picks up his kids. Like, he's not handsome. He's not like shockingly handsome, but he's got something to him. He's rough and
here's one where he looks just like Dave Wanstead.
The mustache, I don't think he gets hit on as much, but
I think
he pulls this shit off.
I always think he's attractive. Fucking bang.
All right. So now that we're done,
let's talk Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera was fired.
Annual Ron Rivera firing.
Yeah.
I don't think this was his fault either. They got rid of like their top 2 defensive ends. They clearly started cashing in on the season. Sam Howell, the shine came off the apple a little bit. I don't think he's been bad in the NFL, and I'd be curious to see. He does throw a lot of picks, but he makes a lot of crazy plays. I'd be curious to see where that experiment goes with time. And hopefully
Sam Howell's a long-term backup in the NFL for sure.
He's Gardner Minshew. He's a great backup, premium ass backup. But I don't know if he'll ever be good enough to be a starter. And then Pete Carroll.
He's not going to Baker Mayfield his way into a starting gig because Baker Mayfield's clearly shown he's a starter in the NFL now. I don't think Sam Howell's ever going to work his way into that unless he gets in like a Shanahan or McDaniel system. Because like Tua needs to get paid. They might elect not to.
Yeah, I don't know. I
expect them to pay him, but
I have a fun hypothetical. Would you trade Tua to the Chicago Bears for the number 1 pick?
No.
Think about the cap space, right? So you would save yourself what?
Number 1 pick you don't have to pay him $60 million anymore.
Exactly.
Yes, I would do. Well, can we get Justin Fields also?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how the trade iterations, but you could have your choice of young quarterback. You have a lot of
swap first-round picks and just take Justin Fields instead of Tua. Can we do that?
How many years is Justin Fields on that young contract, that cheap contract?
He was a year after.
Does he only get 1 more year? Fuck that. No, I'm not doing that. But to get Caleb Williams or Drake May, it's not that bad. Look,
I honestly think this is going to be the year of the QB flop. Everybody thinks they're all so good, and I think it's going to be the year of the flop.
I'd be curious about that. Yeah, like this next year is considered really a terrible year for quarterbacks coming out of college. So I'd be curious to see if this is. People are banking on quarterbacks this year.
It's a terrible year that somebody takes Russell Wilson in the 4th round.
What were we banking on last year?
I don't think hopes were that high. I know people like Stroud and people like Bryce Young.
No, but I mean, like, I remember us doing like a podcast, kind of like talking about like people have great expectations for these quarterbacks, but there's nothing there.
I kept saying
I think we were right.
Bryce Young, and Al and Andy kept telling me over and over again that Bryce Young is the truth, and I was like, no, take CJ Stroud, and I love being right about that. They might make all the right NFL picks, but like I was so right on that.
You're just a better GM. That's all it is. You're just a better GM than they are.
Well, I just care about height in my quarterbacks.
Height's pretty.
Just so you know, Danny, that was episode 43.
Oh, I love that episode. It's not as good as 104.
It was a good one.
Or 134, whatever we said earlier. And then Pete Carroll, I don't think he was technically fired. I think it's a shame. I think he's an incredibly good coach at every level. And I don't think he gets enough credit because he won the Russell Wilson trade. That's fucking crazy to me. He won the Russell Wilson trade.
Yeah.
And
not just that, like every quarterback he's ever coached has been really good but not necessarily great once they leave his coaching. Like, I mean, just look back to when he was in college, the quarterbacks that couldn't really make it in the NFL.
He's been incredible. He's been an incredible coach.
And then he came into the Russell Wilson situation. I think he drafted Russ in the 4th round and made him a starter as a rookie. And that worked out pretty swimmingly while he was in Seattle.
He's had a pretty.
They got a Super Bowl, right?
Career.
Yeah, but then they also lost one because he checked out of a run to Marshawn Lynch and threw a pass. But
guys, you should always follow the play the head coach puts in, unless you're Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, we're going to do a segment called Athlete of the Week. We don't have that much time, but I do think we need to talk about a couple things that are going to tie into our next point. Jameis Winston, what was the score of the Saints-Falcons game, Chris?
41-17.
With about a minute and a half left, they picked off the quarterback for the Falcons. They returned the ball to the 1-yard line. Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Saints, says, "Run victory." Run victory, which means just kneel the ball down. It's a new play. Cristobal should try it out one time. It says, and instead of running victory, they hand the ball off to Jamal Williams. I think it was Jamal Williams to get his first touchdown of the year, and they get a touchdown. Up 41-17 with a minute left. Jameis Winston says, "I apologize to Allen, his head coach, because the play was victory. But I also explained to Dennis Allen that it was a team decision. I think that when you have a team around, ask the guys, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team. And I understand it from DA's, Dennis Allen's perspective. He didn't condone it at all. And he said it with a smile." And
he did. Big eyes and a smile, the way Jameis does everything, highly animated. He's going to be great on TV when he's done playing. The thing about this is, like, would it have been disrespectful if they had scored the touchdown on that interception that was returned to the 1?
Jameis said that. He said that.
Yeah,
Jameis said that too? Dude, the guy knows what's up.
Dude, I can't hate on him. Like, all right, one, I love Jameis Winston. I love him. Diehard fan. But Falcons fan, hate the Saints. But, like, Jameis even said that in his press conference. He was just like, what? So you mean tell me that if they would run the touchdown in, that would have been disrespectful? You know,
that's
the
random
interception.
The respect off between him and the reporter was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. He says the score was 41-17. How much worse could it get? And then he said it like,
say that, yeah,
with those big ass Jim Carrey eyes. Where I'm like, oh, dude, I don't even know what to say about you. You're the best. You're a gem.
He is definitely my favorite athlete of the week. Boom.
My athlete of the week is better. It's better. So the Titans had a very similar scenario, but Vrabel actually called the pass so that they could get Hopkins his bonus. But Tannehill was very clear with the media that said it didn't matter what the play was. We were getting Hopkins his bonus on that play. So Tannehill was like, "Hey, I've already made my $200 million in the NFL. I know I'm on my way out here. Like, they've drafted quarterbacks twice in the last 2 years with Malik and Levins. So obviously he was totally cool with like screwing over management and making sure his guy got his bonus. I loved the interview after where Tannehill was just so honest, like, "Hey, I'm done with the NFL. I don't need any of these coaches to like me anymore. I was calling that play no matter what." But Vrabel was also done with the Titans and called the play anyway to make sure he got it.
Giant hat tip to Ryan Tannehill. I love that.
Yeah. Love Ryan Tannehill.
I mean, I love both these guys. I think they were great choices for favorite athlete of the week as we continue this segment going forward into the next ones.
Yeah. So we were talking bonuses, and let's talk about bonuses. This is one of my favorite times of the year where we like to talk about bonuses, because the things that don't matter to the casual NFL fan, but if you're getting paid $1 million to do something, you're going to try to do it. So Baker Mayfield made $2 million for hitting the playoffs.
Did it with like 3 field goals too in the last game.
Against the dog shit Carolina team that was not trying very hard. Gardner Minshew
keep him out of the end zone.
made $2 million for playing 65% of his snaps.
Horrendous injuries.
Leg injuries. Yeah, that's a weird one to end up hitting because obviously they were banking on him being a viable backup. They were like, please don't play 65% of your snaps.
Well, luckily they drafted a Florida quarterback that can only run.
And he got concussed like 7 times in his first season. Jadeveon Clowney, $750,000 for 9 or more sacks. He got a half a sack, and he got there, baby. And Chris Jones, $750,000 for 10 or more sacks. And the Chris Jones one was one of my favorites. Because
that was kind of they gave him the sack, right?
They gave him the sack. Chris Jones celebrated like he won the Super Bowl. He took like 20 of the players, and they like started, when they have the turnover cam.
I feel like the guys on the other team were celebrating with him too.
It was a celebration for everybody. Everyone was so excited that Chris Jones hit his money. It's just great. I love that. Watching the owners.
If you like promise everybody like I'm buying bottles at the club if I get this sack, and then they just gave it to him because it was not the only sack I've ever seen that was more given than that sack was the Michael Strahan Brett Favre sack.
Oh, it made me smile so much. His joy. It was like a childlike joy of opening Christmas presents. The way he celebrated with everyone on that $750,000 win. And you know what? I'm fucking happy for him. Chris Jones, you deserve that. You got 10 sacks. No sacks this weekend. You've done your work. No more sacks. That's enough sacks. You guys want to talk about games?
I guess we should give out Andy and Al's picks, right?
Yeah, we should.
Those are the only picks we should give out.
Let's talk.
I mean, Matt's been good on NFL too.
Let's talk Cleveland, Houston really quick. Houston only lives Saturday afternoon playoffs. And I wonder if TJ Yates is somewhere ready to go in because I feel like this is the TJ Yates special spot where it's Saturday, it's 3:30. For some reason, you're like hidden on TV. You're a 75-point dog, and TJ Yates is starting.
What's the Louisville quarterback that used to play for them? Stroud or no, Stroud's there now. Sorry,
Matt
Schaub. Yeah,
Virginia,
Matt Schaub.
Yeah.
This is actually where Matt Schaub throws touchdowns to Andre Johnson, and then they lose anyway.
Yeah, this is. I don't think Houston's allowed to play in a playoff game in the opening weekend that isn't on Saturday at 4:30 p.m.
That's the only time they play.
And it's always on like CW for some reason.
Literally going to be expecting to see Andre Johnson to catch a
touchdown. Cleveland's going into Houston. Danny and Chris are on the same side. What did you tell me your side?
The Browns have a historically good defense for the first 10 games, and it's dropped off the last 6. But I think that defense will carry them through. I think that they found a quarterback that knows how to win with a really good defense. So I expect the Browns to win this game by at least a field goal. So I'm going Browns -2.5. Chris?
I'm also going Browns -2.5 for mostly the same reasons, but it's a lot. Joe Flacco. I think that he is I think that Flacco is a great quarterback. He's coming out again. And it's just like a great story. And then, and so we got Andy over there. He's teasing Houston.
So Andy's playing the regular old Wong teaser. Houston was at +2.5. So Andy is just going to do that as like basically an automatic play to tease that up to 8.5. And in a playoff game, I love that. But I'm not a pussy, so I don't give out swear jar.
So I do think
I don't give out teasers on my picks, but I do bet all of them, so I will be on that, but I'm going to try and middle it.
People are really thinking highly of Joe Flacco, and I'm happy for Joe Flacco. But lights get a little bit brighter in the playoffs, and I think that there's going to be a lot more focus.
He's never played in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Will he know what to do when the lights get brighter?
Yeah, okay. It's not about that. He's also like 40 years old. He's been getting blasted. He hasn't been particularly great either.
His first game he was.
He's been serviceable.
Are we talking about Flacco?
Yeah.
He threw for like 400 yards.
Flacco was never a particularly great quarterback. He just won.
Flacco has always had a cannon arm.
Well, let me tell you
Fair enough. I can't argue with that.
Joe Flacco would win no matter what. had money on his mind. He was never giving up. And every time people step up in the building, everybody's hands go up.
And they stay there.
And they
And they stay there.
I love Joe Flacco. I think he was great with the Ravens. I think that he used to be. Honestly, Joe Flacco has been more interesting in interviews with the Browns than he ever was in like 10 years with the Ravens. I just think that like he's in a super relaxed spot in his career, and I definitely think like listening to him talk about this game, where like, oh, we only got one game to prepare for. It's just one game. We only have to focus on one game. Like in the interviews, he just seems to have like this shit on his shoulders, and that's the kind of thing you need to lead your offense. Somebody in the playoffs, somebody super cool like that, and he's always been a little bit Joe Cool in his approach to the game. Do you know how many teams Joe Flacco's played for?
3.
It's like 4 or 5. He played for obviously the Browns and the Ravens, but do you remember him in Denver?
I don't. I remember him as a Jet for a
He was
little
a
bit.
Jet, and there's another one in there too. But yeah,
I have no idea. I didn't know he played in Denver. Like
yeah,
that.
he played a whole
no,
season in Denver.
No, he didn't.
He was like the Peyton Manning replacement.
I just thought that he got like drafted as a Raven. Like
then he actually flew away. He became a Raven and flew away for a little bit. My pick is going to be Houston plus. If it gets to 3, I'm going to take plus 3. 2.5 is not enough, but I do think this game will be close. I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch. So and climate controlled. I expect some fun. I don't know how CJ Stroud will handle his first playoff game against a very good defense and a defense where the Browns rested everyone last week. So they will be as healthy as they can be at this point. But I don't think Joe Flacco is that great.
There's no 3s available now, but there is a 2.5 at like minus 105. So it might get there.
This is only if it gets to 3. It was plus 2. Cleveland minus 2.5 was minus 125 last night, and I was waiting for the number to turn, and it didn't seem to turn.
Hey guys,
it's at minus 105 now, so it's going the other direction. But I do expect that to bounce around those numbers, and if it gets to 3,
yeah,
that's not a bad bet,
2.5 is not enough, but 3 I like.
You guys, who's the quarterback with the ridiculously long neck that we've referenced?
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon. I will say that Jeff Driscoll is not as Mike Glennon, but Jeff he's got a neck.
Driscoll also has a neck. He's a backup in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's why I was just.
Yeah, but Flacco's going to play the game in the playoffs. I expect Flacco.
No, of course. Oh my God, Mike Glennon's neck is unreal.
Yeah, he's pencil neck. All right, so Dolphins, Kansas City. We don't have all of the Dolphins fans here other than me. I'm going to take the homer pick of plus 4.5. We've had one really bad loss 2 weeks ago where we got blown out, and then it was actually a really good game against the Bills that outside of that punt return for a touchdown and some untimely drops by Tyreek Hill, I thought we had that shit. But yeah, I love the Dolphins at plus 4 and getting plus money against the Chiefs, even though we're on the road here. I feel like this is where McDaniel starts to make his name in the playoffs as an elite coach. And so I'm taking that plus 4.5. Chris, Andy, by the way, is also on that, and I did not tell him. I made this pick all on my own, so I'm not mushing Andy here, but yeah, I love that pick. Chris, do you have a thought on it?
No, I mean I am following. I'm following you on this one with the Miami at plus 4.5. My only concern about this is it's going to be like the coldest game in NFL history at like 0 degrees. And
Dolphins do not fare well in cold weather.
That's not where I was going with that. But okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say that I trust the Dolphins run game more than I trust the Chiefs run game.
No, that what is it? The not the zone read, but there's a name for it where they run outside a lot, but the linemen are all running that way, the stretch play or whatever. It's the same running game that like the Shanahans ran in a long time, and McDaniel like is so confident in the running game as long as he sticks to it. I expect us to run for a lot of yards against a very good Chiefs defense, like a very good Chiefs defense. They invested everything after that Tyreek Hill trade in defense, and it's worked out really well for Andy Reid. He probably should have drafted a receiver in there, But no, yeah, I do expect us to tear them up on the running game, and they might be able to get a turnover or two in the passing game because Tua has not been good in the passing game. But I do still expect us to cover that 4.5.
Yeah, no, me too. So Andy Reid has gotten himself a hell of a quarterback and a hell of a tight end, and he's just turning himself into, the New England Patriots. Like every now and then they pick up a Julian Edelman, and they find greatness where they can.
I mean, he also has a hell of a defensive tackle, 2 really good linebackers.
I meant offense compared to that's how he's turning into Bill.
But he's also the GM of that team, and they have drafted
offense.
defense very well, especially off of that Tyreek Hill trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve Spagnuolo has had a really great season there. Have you guys talked about how this game's on Peacock? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, this is Peacock only.
Yeah, so you think Peacock was like, can you put the Taylor Swift game on Peacock so we can get that subscriber level up?
I do think so, but also to our 4 listeners, Matt and I both have a Peacock subscription, so we can share our logins with you.
Yeah, all of our listeners will share the logins.
just text me and I'll give you the login.
Leave a 5-star review and just say, give me the Peacock login, and I'll figure out who it is.
So I'm just like, 1, I'm shocked that Peacock got anything. 2, they got like 2 of the most like, oh man, they got a great game, and it's on Peacock.
This is where the Browns and Texans deserve to live, on Peacock. That's like an app-driven game. I can't believe Miami.
I would have watched it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna watch all of the football. That's like no doubt. I'm going to watch all of the football, but I can't believe this.
All right, so the next game after that is Sunday. We're moving on to Sunday. Steelers Bills. You guys
legendary team game. Legendary team game.
I only didn't take the Bills -10 because I didn't want to go against the family, because basically everybody else has Pittsburgh +10.
Wait, what do you mean you don't want to go against the family? Have you learned anything from Andy? That's just too many points.
You're going to give Mike.
It is a lot of points for Tomlin
in a playoff game. Look, I don't know what Mason Rudolph's going to do. Right? It's a question, but I think Pittsburgh with enough time and Mike Tomlin at the helm will keep the game interesting.
I'm not going to lie. A 10-point spread with a 35-point over-under. I do like that most of the time, but in this case, I do prefer the Bills to beat them in the 21-7 range. It's just where I'm at.
24-14? No. You said 34?
21-7.
No, what's the total?
35.5.
Okay, 35.5.
Andy's on that over. Andy also has Pittsburgh +10, and Al is also on Pittsburgh +10. So if I were you and I was listening to this, I would tell Al and Andy and disregard anything I have to say on this, because when they are on the same, it is fire.
Or you could tail me and Chris and take Pittsburgh +10. We're all on Pittsburgh +10. Not me.
I'm not. It's not an official pick, but I expect the Bills to cover the 10.
All right, so we have some contention in the house on this one. This is a super fun game. If you had to say America's teams and you just randomly pick 2 teams, Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys would likely there's a good chance they would be the teams you would choose. Dallas is hosting this game at home. They've been a wagon at home. Mike McCarthy gets to have revenge on the Green Bay Packers this week. Chris, what are you doing with this game?
Well, since you just put it like that, now I'm like, oh.
Well, no, sorry. Mike McCarthy gets to have revenge on the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love's looked really friggin' good this year.
No.
They have their next quarterback.
I've already placed my bets, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have. But
it's a good number.
I got the Packers plus a touchdown and half a point, so 7.5. I'm rolling with that. Dallas. Every time I bet on Dallas this year, I lost. And like games.
Is it because you were betting at the Cardinals game?
What a game! What a game that was.
Yeah. So I mean, like this team, they have it. They have the ability to do it. They just, for me, I thought the Packers 7.5 was, good enough on points.
I see this game either Dallas covers the spread or Green Bay wins it outright. I don't see this game being particularly close. I do think Dallas has a plenty flaws, and Dallas loves to choke away this round of the playoffs. Green Bay's getting better. Jordan Love's good.
Jordan Love is good. That's why I'm taking Green Bay
Legitimately
plus
good.
7.5. So when it was at 7.5, I like the Packers plus 7.5. Andy teased that down to 1.5, but I believe the line has hit 7 at some points throughout. And if you can get the 7, I wouldn't take Packers at the only 7. That half a point really means a lot to me here because I feel like I don't really think they're going to.
Hey, Chris. Are you frozen? Shit. All right, guys.
I blacked out everything, but I guess we're good.
One man. Well, I get everyone back. Oh, Chris is here. Thank God. Chris, are you there?
Yeah. Have you not been hearing me talk? I've been talking forever.
My internet failed. So I don't know what's been recorded or what's not been recorded here. But we're going to try to roll with this. I don't know where we are. Were we did Danny talk about Green Bay? Is that what happened?
We were just wrapping up Green Bay. How we thought Jordan Love could handle it, whatever. Just everybody needs to know that, oh, hey, Danny's back. That Al has taken Dallas -7. Don't even worry about Andy's teaser because I don't know how to explain that. But, I'm going against Al, and maybe I should regret that.
He teased Dallas from 7.5 down to 1.5. Andy's also on the under 51. I am laying the 7 with Dallas as well. Let's take it to Los Angeles Rams at Detroit Lions. Question for you boys. Is Matt Stafford finally going to get a playoff win in Detroit?
I feel like Stafford throws this game in Detroit, but I'm still on the +3 because I think he will.
So my question for you is: This is the ultimate to see who wins the trade. Jared Goff went from LA to Detroit. Matt Stafford went from Detroit to LA. This game really matters. It matters more. It's like an SEC game.
The trade has been won.
No.
The Rams won a Super Bowl. The trade has been won.
Not if Detroit wins this game and wins a Super Bowl. Then it's 1-1. This game matters to see who will win the matchup. I think it's going to be really fun. I think there's going to be a little bit of pride on the line here because of the trade as well. Right? We want to see what franchise is better. I'm really intrigued by this, and I'm so glad it's in Detroit. A playoff game in Detroit just feels right.
It does.
Danny is on the Rams +3. I am also on the Rams +3. I also like the Rams. Al, cover your ears, to win outright. I would put it on the money line. I think the Rams have a really good chance of just straight up winning this game. They are getting healthy at the right time. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp look good. Stafford's playing good. Everything looks right in LA. I think you're going to see the Rams win this game straight up.
So I bet every game in the playoffs, but if this was at 2.5, I would have laid it with the Lions. But because it was a field goal, I took it with the Rams. That was basically the decision. I was a half a point away.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, why am I an idiot?
Well, because the Lions have too many offensive weapons.
So many.
Jared Goff is starting to build that relationship that it took a minute to make, right? But when you have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Craig Reynolds and just everything you have, and you're at home in Detroit in a city that needs this win, You really think the Rams are going to be able to bring it? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Danny, you also broke your ankle in a fucking high school baseball game or something. I don't know.
It was a cheerleading competition. Al is laying 3 as well, which is not surprising. Chris, were you saying that the Detroit fans were going to lose themselves in this moment?
Hey, they're going to
They
lose
better
it. They're
never
going to
let it
season
go.
own it and never let it go.
You really, in this game, you only get one shot. That's for sure.
You can't throw
One
up your mom's
opportunity.
spaghetti on your shirt, though.
No.
You better not vomit up this opportunity like a bowl of mom's spaghetti. That's for sure. And then we go to Monday night in a very odd game with a very odd line. We got Philadelphia going into Tampa Bay to the Fighting Baker Mayfields. Chris, what are you doing here, buddy?
If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that Tampa would have a fighting chance against the Philadelphia Eagles, I would have told you to go fucking take a hike.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this. I'm betting. I'm taking points with Tampa +3. It's just what has happened to the Eagles? I do not know.
So I know what happened. The Eagles have been ice cold, and a lot of it has to do with running a super basic offense that everybody has figured out, and they haven't made any changes, right? So their offense is essentially like, let's let Jalen Hurts throw 10 to 15-yard outs. Let's let him hit the guys over the top, or let him run. That's been their offense, and everybody's figured it out, and they just leave a spy on him, and he is fast, but not fast enough to outrun a lot of NFL linebackers, and he has a really strong arm, but not enough to beat corners that know that 15-yard out's coming. So honestly, I think that unless they change the way they're doing things on offense, the Bucs really strong defense. The Bucs have a really strong defense. Can keep this game really like in a low scoring, like 14-7, 10-7, that kind of game. And that's why I'm going under 43.5 in Bucs +3.
I like that. Al is on Philadelphia laying the 2.5. He must have gotten that line earlier, or a different book may have laying the 2.5. So there's a chance for Al to win and Chris and Danny to tie or draw.
I hate being against Al here on the +3, and he has the -2.5. Al's been super hot. So if you're just here to follow our picks, even if you liked my analysis, just follow Al. But I'm definitely on the +3 for the Bucs.
So for the sake of recap, Al is on Pittsburgh +10, Dallas laying 7, Detroit laying 3, Philadelphia laying 2.5. Right, 3 favorites on all the games he's betting are Sunday and Monday. Andy is teasing Houston, and he's pairing it up with Dallas. He's teasing Houston to +8.5 and Dallas down to 1.5. He's also taking the Dolphins +4.5 on that homer shit, and Pittsburgh +10 and the over 35.5 in the Steelers and Bills. Sunshine's betting the board. I'm proud of my boy. Browns -2.5. Dolphins +4.5, Pittsburgh +10, Green Bay +7.5, Detroit laying the 3, Tampa Bay +3. Danny is on. He's laying the 2.5 with the Browns, Dolphins +4.5, Packers +7.5, Rams +3, and Bucs +3. Danny is betting most of the dogs minus the Cleveland game. I am going to bet Pittsburgh +10, Dallas lay 7, and the Rams +3. I will bet Houston if the number goes up to 3. And that's the recap of Super Wild Card Weekend. Boys, are you excited to just sit on the couch?
In my defense, I'm also laying the 10 points with the Bills. So I have 2 favorites and 3 dogs.
Personally.
But I didn't put. It's not an official pick.
I don't see it on the board. That's why I'm looking at the board right now.
It's not an official pick.
So we will see what comes of this. We will make a different playoff odds sheet, and we will fill you guys in with the results of that. It's going to be a hell of a weekend. There are a lot of juicy matchups. I can't wait to watch Rams-Lions. I want to see. It's a Goff Stafford loser leaves town game, and
loser leaves town. I love that.
I'm very excited to see what loser is leaving town. That's very fun to me.
I don't think if Goff loses, he's leaving town though, because he's been really, really good for Detroit. I think.
No, he's staying in town. But you know, losers out. It's a really juicy matchup. Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a weekend. Anything else, boys? Like, subscribe, share, 5-star comment if you want a Peacock login. Leave us 5 stars on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get it. Just say, hey, hook me up with a Peacock login. We'll figure out who you are, and we'll give you a Peacock login. Don't forget that. You're not going to watch the Dolphins game if you don't have Peacock login. And it's an astronomical price. It's like $5 for Peacock. Don't do that. 5 stars. Holler at your boy.
Or just have a Xfinity internet, and then you get it for free.
Oh, yeah. Comcast, NBC, all that shit. Mm-hmm. All right. Sunshine drink.
Oh, thanks.
You have a Chuggie to give out. Give out your Chuggie before I forget how to close this podcast down. It can be me.
Whoa. Hold on. Wait. You absolutely have to chug that beer.
Okay. It is.
And we're gonna see how fast you can close this podcast down.
All right, here we go. Should I chug the whole beer and then close the podcast?
Yeah. I mean, don't even see
how long is it gonna take? Is that a Warsteiner Dunkel?
Yeah, you're both gonna find this.
Warsteiner.
Right. You gotta stop clock. Here we go. Let's go. What are we at? 7 seconds. Cheers.